you guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be all about grading and how I do that and kind of what my system is. And also I am going to share something that I've been working on, and I will be releasing that probably the end of September, maybe early October, but we'll get into that towards the end of the video. So first, let's go ahead and just jump into, I feel like it's kind of taboo to talk about, but it is grading. And is it necessary to grade in homeschool? Is it not? So let's just kind of dive into it. So I found this wonderful resource online a long time ago. I forgot that I had downloaded it, saved it and everything. And then last year and even the year prior, I had dabbled in practicing grading. And it's been a little bit of a challenge and a learning curve. Sorry, I'm still getting over being sick, so I'll be sipping on my tea. Okay, so yes, I've dabbled a little in grading. My state doesn't require grading, but once my kids get into those high school years, I don't want to learn then how to grade. And we used the BJU Homeschool Hub before to track our grades. But when I used it the first year it came out, and it had a lot of problems for me. It froze a lot. It had deleted grades of mine before. I had to reach out to them. They fixed it and everything was fine. But it was such a hassle. And I realized I'm more of a pen and paper type person. So I was like, I'm not doing any of this online. I'm sure it has since been fixed and all their bugs are worked out, and I'm sure it is a great resource. But because we don't even use BJU, I don't find myself wanting to even use it. I think I still have my old login and stuff, but anyway, we aren't using that. The grading sheet, I'm going to show you two of the resources that you're going to want to use. Now, if you don't need to keep grades, then this video probably won't apply to you at all. My state does not require them, but like I said, the reason I'm practicing now is because next year Christopher will be taking a high school course, so I will have to figure out grades for that. So I'm trying to just kind of get myself used to it now. That way when I do get to, when he's in 9th grade, I don't have to learn it then. I have it already. I'm like, oh, I've already done this for a few years. I know what I'm doing. So, okay, this is from Janelle. I am gonna not pronounce her last name correctly, but she has a YouTube channel. I'm gonna link it below because this resource is amazing, and I totally think you guys should watch her video. She walks you through how to do the grading. I'm gonna roughly walk you through it, but if you want a more detailed version of that, definitely go check out her channel. She has so many great resources, and I just really love her channel. Okay, so this is the grading sheet that she designed, and it has the date, the assignment, points earned, and points possible, and then the grade. So you will need several of these depending on how many classes your student's taking. So for example, for Christopher, if he's taking 4 or 5 classes that I am tracking grades in, then I'm gonna put GS1 for grading sheet 1, and then grading sheet 2, 3, 4, whatever, and the subject. So for example, his math class has a lot of assignments. So this might get filled up with a lot of his assignments, and I'm gonna grade it 5 out of 5 on that, which I'll talk to you about this. So weighted grading sheets. Should we weight our grades? What does that even mean? I didn't know either. Didn't know either. So I looked into all that because I will have to have transcripts for my kids once they get to that high school level. I have 2 kids in middle school right now, and that is definitely completely different for me anyway from elementary. Middle school is, they kicked it up a notch. I mean, they have way more schooling that they're doing, and things are just a little bit more time intensive. But so let's talk about a weighted grading system. So down here it has total points earned, total points possible. You give it a weight. So this is for tests, quizzes, projects, assignments, and participation. Not every subject is going to require all of those. So for example, Christopher's math, he does not have math projects, so I simply don't fill that out. But the numbers down here need to accumulate to 100. So you have to decide what are you going to give the weight to that for test. How much of his overall grade is going to be that. So I'm gonna pull up Christopher's so you guys can see. I do not have it all filled out because like I said, I literally just started doing this a couple days ago. I had tracked grades throughout the year on a different sheet of paper. So I'll show you what I was using. I knew as I was using it, I was like, this is not working for me. So, oh, these are all Addison's, hold on. This one's Addison's, but just so you can see, I had pages like this, where it had the date, the subject, and you would just put whatever assignments they did for that. So this was language arts, so all of her assignments were there. And then I calculated a grade per assignment. But I really didn't like that because how am I supposed to, at the end of the quarter, figure out what her grade is for that class? That was another thing, figuring out a GPA. No idea. I am not a math type person. I don't know if you guys are, but math is not my jam. I don't do well in it. That's why Christopher's, I knew I was not gonna teach a high school math or middle school math. Well, I will up to 6th grade, but then I tap out at that. Anyway, okay, so for example, Christopher's tests is gonna be 50% of his grade. His quizzes are 30%. And then you can see that I've tracked his assignments so far. I just crossed off projects and I put assignments, and these 2 sections are for his assignments, and I give it a 20% of his grade. Now, obviously, as you can tell, I'm running out of room for the assignments. Totally fine. You're just gonna print another one of these and you can staple it to it. And this is obviously for your own record. So you figure it out, do it as it works for you. So for example, what I mean by that is his language arts, for example, he has, let's see, or for science, let's go with science. I gave his test 50%. He does not have quizzes in his science curriculum, but he does have projects. So I gave projects 30% and his assignments are 20. So 50, 30, and 20 equals 100. So once you figure that out, all you have to do on this side, for example, so Christopher's getting straight A's in math, but if he wasn't, for example, and he's getting 90 out of 100 or 80 out of 100, you take all the points possible and add those up. That's gonna go in this box right here above the weighted grade. And the box on the top is gonna be all of his scores on the left, and you add all that up. Then those 2 numbers, you will divide them, and then you will multiply by whatever weight you gave it, and that's the total weighted grade. So it could be, you know, 3 point whatever, 42 point whatever. I'm just throwing out numbers because obviously I have not added this up, but whatever number you end up getting down here, and in each column, you will add all of those up, and then you get, after you add them, you get a total weighted grade, whatever that might be, and then you can give it a letter grade. So that is how you calculate the GPA per subject. And so this resource and this one are really great. She also has a resource for, obviously, when you get into the high school years, which I am not there yet, but I do have it printed, I think. Oh, I might not. I probably shouldn't have said that. I don't know if I have it printed. It's basically a transcript page. I may not use that. Well, actually, I'll probably write that out, but I already know what I'm using for transcripts, which is gonna be on the computer for once he gets to 9th grade. I already know what I'm doing for that. I also got this other resource. So I don't know if this probably will apply if your state requires grades. Mine doesn't, but I still want to keep an eye on how they're doing quarterly. So my year is broken up into 4 quarters. We actually just finished our first quarter, which I know sounds crazy, but we started in June because we homeschool year round. So they've completed X amount of weeks of school to complete their first quarter. So for example, I don't have this one filled out, but just to show you what it looks like. This one I got on Etsy. You could create something like this on Canva. You don't have to buy it. But sometimes it's like, if you just want something quick, you just order it off Etsy. But this was a PDF. You put the name of your student, the school year, grade level, and obviously parent signature. We don't need to do that, we're homeschoolers. Parents' feedback, we also didn't need to do because we're homeschoolers. But you could put the subject, their first quarter grades, and their final grades for that. You can have that as just something that you keep in your binder or your file. And then I have a yearly one. So it'll have all of his grades, math, science, history, etc. and their quarters, and then you give a final grade for each quarter. This is just something like for your own records, honestly. It's a really good way to keep you on track and accountable if you're more of a type A homeschool mom, which I kind of feel like I fall into that a bit because I do like to have things very organized. So that is what I'm working on. And all of this is going in my homeschool binder. I used one of these like years ago, but I didn't feel like I used it a lot. Now I use it a lot. So inside here I have a lot of my teacher guides. I have all of Haley's supply list for her experiments are in here, and then each kid has a different file. So this is Haley's, and it's a file folder with her I have teacher guides in here. So this is just for me. She's not looking in that. It's just so I know which kid I'm pulling stuff out for. This is Addison's binder in here and Christopher's. And it's just their teacher guides. I have a different system for like pages that need to get graded. That's up in my homeschool room. And then in the back, I have a timeline for all their history cutouts and stuff like that. Their grading sheets, which I've just showed you. I literally just started filling out all of that this week. Those will also go in here. So that way I have like a one-stop thing for all my stuff. Do I still use a homeschool planner? Yes, I do. I specifically use it though for lesson planning. I don't really use it for, well, maybe to-do list here and there, but I don't really use it for anything else. In the back of mine has a grading scale, which is wonderful, and I love it, and I use it all the time. So that's definitely something I utilize, and if there's like things in my calendar I need to put in there, then I'll utilize that. But as far as like the grades and all that stuff, that goes in here. All the teacher guides, well, the ones that have, like for master books, has a lot of the stuff in the curriculum at the back of the book, and so I had to pull that out because I didn't want them seeing like their answer keys and stuff. So that is everything for grading. If I know this probably could have gone over people's heads, and they're in filling these grading sheets out, you can use multiple of them per subject. If grading goes over your head, do not let it scare you. It's really easy. And this is coming from someone who's not a fan of math, who's not very good at it. I'm gonna link Janelle's video below. I think that's her name, oh my gosh. Yes, Janelle Knutson. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Wonderful page. But I'll link her video below so that in my description box so you guys can see. She really does go in depth and walk you through it. I'm just kind of giving you a rough idea of how to do it. But I definitely want to give her credit for that. She walks through it very easy and makes it very simple for you to understand. And I really appreciate that as a homeschool mom. So that's it on grading, guys. Let's talk about middle school for a second. What has it been like teaching middle schoolers? Well, Haley is still in her last year of elementary, and middle school has been an adjustment. It's been a little bit of an adjustment, but we're doing really good. The workload is different than elementary, and they're working more independently now, and I think we're going into a really nice flow of things. Let's talk about our schedule for a little bit, because I know a lot of people ask me on Instagram, what does the schedule look like for teaching multiple kids? It's actually really easy if you're really good at multitasking. If you're not good at multitasking, you just gotta practice. But multitasking 3 different grades, 3 different subjects, it could be a lot. And we finally found a good flow. So every day we start at 9 and we go till about 2:30. If something is going longer than 2:30, or I feel like it's gonna be going longer than 2:30, then like we stop. I like to have a stop time, because I feel like if we go past 2:30, it just ends up being like, I don't know how to explain it, but it feels like a lot of stuff. And I just like to have kind of a rough cut off time at about 2:30. So at 2 o'clock, I'm kind of seeing how everyone's doing, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna start finishing up our last stuff. Now, if I still have stuff on the board that we haven't got to, I've you know, normally because I'm more type A, I'm like, oh, we have to get this done, we have to get this done. And it's just not always possible. And sometimes I have different expectations of how long I think things are gonna go. So I think if you just kind of have a looser schedule with that, your days are gonna run a lot smoother. My mentality is we'll get to what we can. This is the guideline of things I'd like us to get done, and we'll see what we can finish today. And if you go about your day like that, it's just, it makes it a little smoother and a little less like heavy where you don't feel so rushed to get stuff done. So I have a whiteboard up in our homeschool room, and I put everybody's subjects on there, and then I put like a dash next to the subject, and then I put their initial. I don't care what order they do it in. They can do whatever order they want, as long as when they're done, they erase their initial off the board. And I find that that actually works. I saw another homeschool mom do that, and I was like, I don't know if that's gonna work for me, but at that point, I had given up any other ideas. So I was like, you know what, we're just gonna try it. And it worked out so well. So the only time that there's like a little bit of conflicting timelines there is if for the kids' geography, if they have to make something, I have that be at the end of the school day. So if they have to make something, we do that later in the day for geography. If it's math, Christopher works independently on math, but my girls know that they cannot be doing math at the same time because mom will freak out. I can only teach one kid, one grade math level at a time. I've tried to teach two math subjects at a time, or two math grade levels at a time, and it was not a good time. It was way too hard. I'm not doing that. Language arts, they can all do at the same time. Science is another one that has to be done separately because they have experiments and they need that more one-on-one time. So math and science are the two that I really set separate time aside to do one-on-one, and then the other kids will work on something else. So if I'm working on math with Haley, Addison's gonna be working on her language arts, or she's gonna be working on her devotional, or she's got other things on the board that she can work on, her spelling, her typing, etc. You get the idea. So that's pretty much how that's been working, and it works out really well. As far as multitasking, you just kind of get used to it. It's not something that necessarily comes, well, maybe it comes easy to me, I don't know. Depends on the day, but that's our schedule. Now, something that this is all done talking about grades in middle school and our schedule. Something I've been working on that I've spent quite some time in is I have made a Christmas unit study. It is my first unit study I've ever made, and I've spent so much time on it, you guys, and I originally just created it because I've used other unit studies, and every time I use one, I'm like, oh, I wish it had more of this, or I wish it had that, and it could have been anything. It didn't just have to be Christmas unit studies. I've used just other ones, and anytime I use one, I always want to add something, or I'm like, probably don't need that, or I would find stuff that was harder to, like for my kids' age group at the time, I'm like, oh, this seems too easy, or that's a little too hard to understand. So I created a upper elementary / middle school geared Christmas unit study, that specific age group, just because that my kid's age is that. And after I'm looking at it, I do think younger kids could use it potentially, especially if you're teaching with like all your kids at the same table. The Christmas unit study is so wonderful. It has 10 lessons, and each lesson is a different Christmas story, which is so cozy and it's so fun. And each lesson has a Christmas story that you'll read to your kids. And then not every single lesson, but I have a variation throughout each lesson. Every lesson has a craft. Some lessons have recipes. Some have a math lesson incorporated tying to the story, or a science lesson tied to the story, or a language arts. So that is throughout every lesson. But obviously, like I said, not every lesson has all of those. Some might have a math and a language arts, or some might have specifically just fun crafts in it. And there are QR codes that you get to scan that will take you to a specific video maybe, or a recipe. Some recipes and crafts and everything I have written out, handwritten out in it, or typed out. But I did spend a lot of time in this and it's so much fun, and I am going to do a giveaway with it. So one of my subscribers will get a free PDF of the entire Christmas unit, and if you're wanting to purchase that, I am going to put it in my teacher pay teacher just because I don't have a website. I'm not opposed to eventually getting one. I just kind of want to see how this one does. I had so much fun creating this, and I've spent so much research and time putting like love into it. And I really wanted this to be just a fun, cozy Christmas where all my kids could just really enjoy it. And I really made it personalized. And so I hope you guys enjoy it. If you do end up buying it, I am gonna make it very affordable. It will be in my teacher pay teacher for now. If I end up deciding that I want to make more unit studies, I will probably end up having a website where you specifically just order the PDF and then you can get it right away. So we'll see how it goes. I'm gonna see how my kids like it. I know what they enjoy doing, and my kids are very hands-on. They're kinesthetic learners. They want lots of crafts. And if I don't have it specifically laid out for me to where it's easy and affordable to get, then I typically don't want to do it. So keep in mind that every lesson, I kept that in mind. We are one income family, so each lesson does not require a ton of stuff. I did try to make things affordable as far as like the crafts, and relatively easy. There may be a craft or two that takes a little bit more time, but I didn't make every lesson like that because I know that can be a little time intensive. So anyway, once I get that all kind of printed and put together really nicely, I am gonna do a complete flip through, and then I will be doing a giveaway. And then I'll let you know like the conditions of the giveaway, and we'll go from there. But thank you so much. If you've listened this long to me talk about all the things, please give this video a like and let me know, do you guys grade in your homeschool, and are you excited for the upcoming holiday seasons? Because I've been working on this Christmas study for like months, so I feel like I'm over summer. But anyway, thank you guys for watching, and give this video a like, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.